Hi everybody, welcome back to another session of QTM 200 Applied Regression Analysis. Today we're going to be diving into multivariate regression, and if you remember, throughout the entire semester we're going to be talking about how we make an inference from a sample about a given population. And last time, or in last module, we talked about how to start doing that with a bivariate relationship, or when we have one covariate and one outcome. And we talked about not only the assumptions, estimation, and inference of making a bivariate correlation as well as regression. We then also made prediction and confidence intervals. Today, what we're going to talk about is doing that now for additional predictors. So instead of just having one covariate, maybe we have two or three, and we'll start by talking about how we go from drawing the best line through our data when we start with just one x and our outcome. Now we have multiple x's, so we're going to be trying to create the best hyperplane through this data, through different dimensions. And we'll talk about how to estimate a multivariate regression in R after we talk about the basic construction. So I know today is a big day, and I want to briefly kind of recap what we're going to do, and at each step I want to kind of remind you where we're moving. So I'm going to motivate what we're talking about today by extending the regression example that we had from last module. So if you remember, we were interested in how the quarter 2 growth impacts the outcome of the presidential election, especially with regard to the percent of the vote that the president's party receives. Now, we're going to add in another variable here, which basically is just going to indicate whether or not the president is serving after their first or they haven't served before. And we're then going to move beyond that example by talking about the exact construction of our regression line. So if you remember last time, we were trying to create the best line through our data when we had one x and our outcome. Now we have multiple variables, and so we have to try to still create the best line, but through multiple dimensions. And we'll talk about how to exactly specify and estimate the regression model in R. And because this isn't necessarily easy or intuitive, I want to try to think about this through three lenses. And the first, again, is deriving a hyperplane through hyperspace. I'm then going to kind of talk about lines within groups. So we're going to start talking about dummy variables. And again, I can't stress enough the value that I think scatter plots and basic data visualization allow you to have with regard to the figuring out problems that may arise or finding results before you actually estimate the regression, right? There's a lot of things that just pop out of the data that you may not necessarily think of if you just start running a model and taking the estimates right out of the gate. And since there's so much that we're going to be covering, next time we're then going to talk about making inferences and actually running, again, hypothesis tests with regard to whether or not there are relationships now just with multiple variables instead of one.